In a world with only hot takes,
Two college friends try to cool down sports media.
join Jack and Jared every week as they tackle the biggest stories in the NFL.
And give the reasonable football analysis you won't hear anywhere else.
Welcome to
710
710 Sports.
Welcome back to 710 Sports with
Jack.
and Jared. This is episode 15. Thanks for tuning back in after week 7 of the NFL season. Bit of a chiller week. Some interesting storylines emerged, Jack. How you doing? How was week 7 for you?
I'm good. Week 7, I will say, for the viewers and listeners at home, I did not watch as much of week 7 because I am currently in California. So, between the California time messing me up and just, being busy, I haven't watched as much. I definitely have tried to keep up with it as much as I can. I thought week 7, a lot of the scores, I don't know. Like we said the week before, last week, episode 14, a lot of the games were kind of like picking games to talk about for week 7 was kind of hard to do. I think just a lot of the like there's certain stuff that's a good way to summarize the week. A lot of foreboding games, a lot of scary games for fans of certain teams who will watch this and say, oh, either we thought we were about to turn it around, or we thought we were going to be, or whatever it is, and it not turning out the way people would have wanted.
Right,
the teams that maybe are supposed to be had seemed to people might think would be good earlier in the season or last year, whatever.
The question then being, is it even possible to turn it around now? Now the changing of the
with
thought
the time
is
left and,
right. Yeah. And I can confirm Jack is in a different time zone. I texted him about the Patriots game on Monday, and he was like, "Oh, what the Patriots on?" Because it's like 3 hours.
Yeah. Because it was like 5 o'clock for me, so I mentally was thinking, the game's in a couple of hours. Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch that with dinner. That's what I normally do. So
yeah, you probably were better off just forgetting that was happening, and then being like, "Oh, I missed it," at like 8, because of how it went. But
we'll get there. So do you want to do the run through of the topics and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. We are going to get into the sort of the QB controversy and the problems in New England. That's going to be one topic. We're also going to talk about Chiefs 49ers, specifically what is going on in San Francisco.
What is
going on?
Go ahead. I was just riffing off it.
Hey, no, you're good. You're good. We're also going to do Zone Blitz. So that's going to be our quicker segment. It's not. It's about the same length, but a bunch of topics all crammed in there.
A bunch of topics in about the same chunk. Yeah,
exactly. And then we're going to do a couple of game picks for next week and our stats question as always. So, we'll just get right into it. Not waste any time here. And we're going to start actually with the Kansas City, San Francisco 49ers game. It's a 4:25 game. It was actually kind of close there rolling into the fourth quarter, but San Francisco, I think they had brought it to 5 or so after a touchdown in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And then it just really all fell apart.
And then they just turned it off, not turned it on, turned it off.
Exactly, completely turned it off. Ended up losing 44-23. They get blown out. Kansas City looks as dominant as ever. Any takeaways from the game before we sort of get into the San Francisco specific sort of drama?
The big thing kind of being, I think what you said about the 49ers, I think this will kind of bleed into other topics I know in the Zone Blitz, but I think just not the 49ers, the Chiefs, looking very dominant, right? Putting up 44 points against the 49ers, against a team where everyone was like, this team is right. They were in the NFC Championship game last year, right? They star-studded defense and all that sort of stuff and whatever, but kind of offensively and defensively holding on pretty tight. I guess the one other thing I'll say is I know Christian McCaffrey was not used as much as I think he will be. I think this is that's the one kind of asterisk you could put in this game, or at least put on him, is that there was only one practice and a couple days sort of thing to get ready. He was still probably used more than I thought. 8 carries, 2 catches, but either way, what are your thoughts? We can get further, and I know you have more thoughts on this.
Yeah, so just before we get into specifically the CMC trade, Yeah, this game, I'd echo what you just said. I mean, obviously, it looked like Kansas City was dominant. For me, at no point in that game, watch the whole game. Game of the week on Fox, not a sponsor. Watch the whole game, and telling jokes while you're taking a drink.
Not
so we can get a spit take on video. No, but this game, not at one point in this game that I think that San Francisco had a chance from the first quarter on. Even when it was like, oh man, San Francisco just scored and they cut it to 5 or
one
whatever.
score game, yeah.
Or maybe it was 9. I don't remember. Either way, so much so that at one point I just fell asleep during the game on the couch. I just straight up fell asleep, woke up. Kansas City was still up. Of course they were. You just knew that even if they got into a tight situation, Mahomes and the offense were going to be able to dig them out.
They would have gotten a score, yeah. Even if the 49ers closed the gap, right, and got a 2-point lead, like, right, they charged down the field in 13 seconds and got a field goal, right, and that 49ers team's going to play some prevent defense in that sort of situation and give up a field goal. So yeah, I mean, so the Christian McCaffrey, or do you want to go to that first? Or?
Yeah, you go ahead.
I would say, I mean I think what, like, I don't think we can just look at one game and say this is now a terrible trade. I do think we need more time to see. I mean, like, you can't say that and say that it is a terrible trade. You can still easily say when the trade happened, this will not be a good trade. Christian McCaffrey, injury prone, 49ers, love to hurt players. Not like hurt players, but use these sort of running positions very heavily, like running back stuff, and potentially get lots of use. And it is a lot of picks for a running back, but so you could be very negative on the trade in that sense. I don't think you can say it's failed. You obviously can't say after one game it's failed or anything. I do think I am still excited to see next week. I think if it's not working next week, right? I mean, I know the 49ers playbooks may be all complicated. Maybe it's very complicated, but I'd hope he can integrate into it next week and be used very heavily, and maybe we get to see something more. But I mean, I guess that's my thoughts. I know it's not super organized, but what do you think?
Hey, I mean, you said we can't say it's a terrible trade. Yeah, I am absolutely going to say it's a terrible trade. I know we're all about, hey, let's give some reasonable football analysis. Jack has provided you that about this topic. Time for me to jump in the deep end and give a hot take. All right, this is my turn to say some crazy shit on the podcast. Okay, this trade makes absolutely no sense. Let me sit you in the front office of the San Francisco 49ers. Last week, as we're doing our podcast, they're finalizing this deal because it came out after episode 14 last week.
Yeah.
And so we're doing the podcast talking about how the 49ers just got handedly beat by the Atlanta Falcons 28-14. They let Atlanta and Marcus Mariota and no joke, practice squad guys who were coming off the practice squad to start in Atlanta, they let that team beat them. And you know what they said? We're real close. We're one player away.
We're one running back away. Not just one player. We're one running back away.
Not quarterback. No, we are literally one piece away, and we are going to trade 4 picks away. We're going to trade next year's draft away, essentially.
Because they still don't have their first, because they traded their first for Trey Lance, who's not playing because he's hurt, because they had him run like a QB power.
In ultimate F them picks fashion, they F them picks, right? But the problem is, you did it for a guy who, yes, he fits the scheme because, like you said, he's injury prone, and that's a big thing out there in San Francisco. So he fits the scheme perfectly. But you know what? I hate it football-wise because you already have that guy on the team. His name is Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
You have him already. Why would you go and get a second one? It's like, oh man, but Shanahan, imagine what he could do with 2 Deebos. He might do some fun stuff. I'm not gonna lie, but that wasn't a place of need. I don't think.
Could you know what I mean? I'm not sure. I'd have to check this. I'd have to check this. But right, Deebo Samuel, he had 1 rush for 2 yards this game. I I haven't been checking it, but I'm not sure if they've been using him as much from the backfield. This is a complete speculation. I no stats to support this because I just thought of this now based on you saying that. But could it be that was a thing over the offseason with the whole Deebo Samuel? Will he get traded? He's not happy. Like the whole Deebo Samuel drama was. I think part of it was that he wasn't sure how happy he was with how he was being used. He maybe thought that some of that backfield that maybe that's what was going to get him hurt. Maybe that's why they think we don't want to use him in that role. We want to use him. He's still fast. He can still run routes well, whatever. We're going to try to use him as more for wide receiver one role, and then have Christian McCaffrey run the kind of stuff they were using Deebo for as a kind of maybe I don't want to say effort to keep Deebo, but kind of effort to still have that part of their offense without losing Deebo. Maybe
Sure.
Why?
And hey, that's a good reasonable take. If you think that Deebo, do you think Deebo's a number one receiver? Do you think that? I mean, because I think that a big chunk of his appeal and his talent is that you can run him out of the backfield. That you can his run after catch is the most impressive thing about it. You could throw him a 5-yard drag route and he could go for 50. Yeah, I don't know about
it's like a Julian Edelman. Hey, Patriots had like Julian Edelman as may as well have been their wide receiver one. But I get your point. It's like but you could use him like a Cooper Kupp role. But I think Cooper Kupp's better at that sort of like dink and dunk, sort of thing. Like, but I don't know. In conclusion,
this is a San Francisco 49ers team that is a top 10 in defense even with all their injuries. But they're middle of the pack, if not worse, offensively. 19th in points per game, 10th in yards per game. So they're right there in the middle of the pack. Do I think this McCaffrey trade puts them over the top? No. Do I think that they're a playoff team? Maybe. Maybe they're a playoff team, and anything could happen in the NFC playoffs. I mean, I know they went to the championship game last year. But
are they in the notes when you say are they a playoff team? Are they a contender? Do you mean a contender to be in the playoffs or a playoff team? Right. Because the Eagles, that's a playoff team right there. They're 100% in the playoffs, right? But do I think the 49ers are 100%? I definitely think I definitely think we'll be seeing them week 14, right? And it's gonna say in the hunt. I think they'll still be in the hunt week 14, definitely. Will they be? But in that division right now, I mean, I don't know. I think they could very well make the playoffs, given the NFC, given how the NFC is. I think they probably make the playoffs. I do not think they make the NFC Championship game again. That would be absurd, even in the NFC. Even with the NFC how it is, that would be crazy.
It's just that this type of trade would make perfect sense for a team that thinks they are that one player away, like Buffalo. Buffalo's leading rusher for years has been Josh Allen.
Yeah. It's great.
He's a quarterback.
Christian McCaffrey to the Bills would be that put them over the top. You don't have to use injury. You don't have to use your injury prone running back too heavily. You get to use him well. You get to use him efficiently, right? You don't have to run him into the dirt. But it still adds. It still might be worth it.
If they had given up a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth or whatever, if Buffalo had, I'd have no qualms. I'd say. It makes perfect sense. They're trying to beat Kansas City. They won a Super
Bowl, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But
so
that's my hot take. Sorry.
That means you're moving on to New England. Ooh.
Yes.
Here.
Do you want to set it up or would you rather me?
No. I was gonna set up because I want to do one quick clarification. I was thinking this while we were doing the episode last week. But we had really spent a lot of time on this topic without it being a main topic, whereas now it is a main topic. So I wanted to I didn't kind of clarify, but when I was saying, remember last week, something about kind of the Mac Jones 2-3 game leash or whatever I was saying, I was saying I wasn't trying to say that's what I think should be. I was trying to have more of that's what I think there will be.
Okay.
And more that because let me check this. I mean, unless there's some sort of behavioral thing, because that's part of all this. Is there's also potential behind the scenes stuff that we can't really talk to because we don't know. But I guess that was my thought, and my main thought going into this week. Right, going into this week, I thought probably don't start Mac Jones. Not from a game, not from a skill level, but may as well give him another week to recover. Right, this should be a layup. Spoiler alert, it wasn't if you haven't watched the game. But it should have been a layup. Let Bailey Zappe keep doing it. I think there's You're playing like the Jets next week, which they've got a good record, better record than the Patriots right now. But still, kind of like Mac can always kind of like he can get the layup next week against the Jets, right? That like if there's one thing he can do, it's beat the Jets, right? He did that a bunch last season. That's what I think they should have done instead of start Bailey Zappe. So this going into this week, basically Patriots got shellacked by the Bears, offensively and defensively. I mean, there was that kind of once they put in Bailey Zappe, which we'll talk about. Once they did that, they had like one or two good drives. They had like 2 good drives. They got 2 touchdowns, and then like nothing else happened the rest of the game. And they lost. And kind of a potential big controversial thing was Mac Jones returned as the starter, but he was then benched for Bailey Zappe after like 3 drives, I think.
Yeah.
And then and basically New England gets blown out. And I mean, what are your preliminary thoughts on this? I've got a lot of thoughts, but I want to I just talked a bit.
Yeah, so I mean, you pretty much set it up there. Mac Jones didn't look super great, but he did throw a pretty bad pick on the last drive before he got pulled. Yeah. And in shocking fashion, I see during the commercial break, they have the commercial going at the same time as the screen. And I guess that was because they were showing Zappe warming up. And so Zappe comes out after that, the next time that they get the ball. And it's electric. I mean, that's the thing that we got to mention is that they're in, they're at New England. So the crowd is just all over it. They love Zappe. They're freaking out.
Yeah, they have the Zappe fever, definitely.
So they got the Zappe fever.
I'll go on it later.
And he comes out and he makes a couple of tosses, a couple of throws, but Chicago just blows the coverage, has a guy wide open, and Zappe almost misses him. Dude. Throws it back.
That was a bad pass.
It's a bad pass. He threw it on the wrong shoulder.
That was one of the most wide open sort of things you can be without just completely like a dude falling over, like a dude like rushing 11, right? Without something like that, he could not have been much more open. Which has been happening with for whatever reason when Zappe's in, stuff like that happens. It's been happening. It happened in the Green Bay game. It happened in the Lions game. Somehow, I don't understand it. The team just was playing better with Zappe. Dudes get wide open. The blocking is amazing. All I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a coaching thing. The fact I don't think the rookie quarterback is that much of a commander. Is that much of a field marshal out there to be leading to that level of difference, which is something I don't understand, right? But it was electric. To your point, it was electric when he came in, and then suddenly they boom, New England's right back in the game.
Right, and so that's got to be one of the reasons that he gets put in, because Mac Jones. I mean, they're down 10 to the Bears at home, no one thought this. So. Yeah. I just don't know. Does Bill, because Mac Jones, you can say, well, he's coming off injury, he's going to be a little rusty, but he didn't look injured. He ran the ball fine.
I was going to say his running. I think he's supposed to be hurt with his ankle and stuff. He was looking pretty mobile. He looked more mobile than I've seen Zappe look in any of the games, and he in theory is coming off an ankle injury. But I don't understand. So now I'm going to pass back to you. Does Bill just not trust Mac? Why would he do the old verbiage? Hey, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0. He's doing that in the locker room right now. Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like what they did was probably the worst option, and the worst option was start Mac. Right. There's 2 things. You could either not start Mac, right? Give him another week, right? Give him another week. Let him recover more. Whatever. I don't know if Mac would have wanted that, because then, what if Bailey Zappe balls out, and then, that's a lot of games Bailey Zappe's doing well in. But either keep Mac benched in, let him come back into the Jets or whoever they're going to play next week. That's one option. Other option, give him a longer leash than 3 drives. Yeah, pretty bad pick. Yeah, they weren't getting a lot going offensively. But still, right? 3 drives for the dude who's the 85th best player in the NFL. If you trust,
exactly.
It's nothing. Give him a bit more of a leash. And all this does is kind of ruin Mac Jones's confidence, right? The entire part of it's the Patriots fans' fault, right? That the crowd, after like one drive, they were starting the Zappe chants. After 1 3-and-out, like the first, I think they started with the Zappe chants, right? And it's like that's like, geez, like were you guys watching Zappe play? Not that he's not that he's doing horribly or anything. He's managing the game well and everything. Had that 300-yard passing game, but I have not seen anything all that impressive out of Zappe, right? This is like this is like if Mike White lasted multiple games. It would be like if the Mike White mania lasted multiple games, because the team is just playing unless he in the huddle has a presence. Maybe he does to get people open, but so many of his passes it against the Packers too. A couple weeks ago, it was when he first came in. He was getting dudes wide open. People just completely, no one within like a 10-yard radius of him, like of the receivers. And he was, and he could pass to them, right? He was getting those passes. And I'm sure he's made some good passes, but I would still say Mac Jones has more talent. I would still say, like, he's making some pretty bad picks, let's be honest, right? He's been throwing a lot of picks, a lot of them bad. But even that touchdown, though, was that Zappe had was overthrown, almost an incompletion. Zappe can't run as well as Mac. Mac with a hurt ankle is looking more mobile than Zappe has in any of the games so far, right? They even had it. That's what doesn't make sense. It was against the Lions. They had Zappe do this crazy designed run, and I heard on the radio, sports radio, they were speculating, like, was this some sort of thing, like, to show the fans that, like, Zappe can't run, Zappe's not mobile, like so that they can get Mac back in it. Like, it was some sort of weird, like, because it was on like a 3rd and 4 or something. They had Zappe like do this kind of wheel out sort of run, and he couldn't, and he got like a yard because he just is not mobile. It's like looking like Tom Brady out there running wise. It's just like he's not, like, there's something there, but after this game, especially, like, now Zappe's throwing some Mac Jones like picks. I think I don't know. I think it's just all bad. I think it's all bad.
To piggyback on the talent thing, his arm's not as good as Mac Jones, and he's considerably shorter than Mac Jones, and we saw that be a problem. He had balls batted last night. He had a lot of batted ball into an interception last night because of that. He looks like Kyler Murray out there. He's a short guy, and I didn't even think about how he can't run.
Kyler Murray, but not athletic. like what's that?
Right.
It's just like me out there. But it's like starting me out there at quarterback. I don't know, but yeah, I mean that's that. I guess the one other point, because I know we're going to move to that, in terms of the start, in terms of going forward for one thing, I think the Pats are approaching quarterback purgatory. I think they're approaching quarterback purgatory because, like, maybe not quite Colts level quarterback purgatory, but they're just, first of all, and maybe part of it might be Mac's fault, right? Because I know there's a lot of there's some drama with Mac. Like, and that's what I've been hearing with him, with the injury, how the injury's being handled, stuff before the season with the scheme change. Like, there might be that. I don't know how much of that there is, so I'm not going to talk about that. But there might be that. But I think even that part aside, imagine for the confidence, right? That he can have one drive and now all the fans, he's going to get benched after 3 drives. After 3 drives, he's going to get benched. And then all the fans chanting, Zappe, Zappe, right? That doesn't help. Because now fan wise, now, if you're gonna bench Mac and then Zappe was gonna look amazing this week, then that might be a different story. But now all you've done is destroy Mac's confidence when I think he has more potential. I think he has more potential, but you've destroyed his confidence. And I still think he's the starter going forward. I really hope they start him next week. If they don't, if Zappe starts this coming week, it is danger zone. We've entered the danger zone, because that means because Mac certainly will be healthy next week. That means that either the relationship between Mac and the coaches is completely eroded, or they just don't think they can fan. I don't think they're that afraid of the fans, but I don't know. I really hope Mac is the starter. I think he should be, and I think just at least let him ride out this year. And if he ends up sucking, then you get a better pick. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
what are your thoughts on this?
It's a cluster, And so I agree with everything you're saying. It's an absolute mess. I mean, I think that I don't know if it's quite Colts level QB
I know.
purgatory, because it seems
I know,
like
that was
you'd hope. Like I don't know. I haven't been
that
hearing
one
this
of
'cause
these
I'm
guys will put it together. Yeah.
right. Right, but I just haven't been hearing the
it's-
whole like Mac Jones
Yeah.
is not good in the locker room. He's losing the coaches are losing him type of a thing. If that's true, then that's even a bigger problem. My
Yeah.
whole thing though, at the end of the day, is regardless of what they do at QB, if they're gonna give up 33 to the Bears on a rainy night,
Yes.
on a
Yes.
rainy night to a Bears team that's bad, they're gonna lose. They're gonna keep
First
losing.
time
It's
the
not gonna be
Bears-
because of the QB.
First time the Bears scored over 20. I mean, no, not over 20, over 30 in like 2 years. They have not scored over. They scored 30 last year. First time they
Justin
scored
Fields
over
has
30.
never scored 30 in his career as an NFL player.
Hey,
That's what they were saying.
it ain't easy, right? Right.
This,
It ain't easy.
he literally had his career game against the Patriots. So they got to share that up, because that's sort of their whole thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know,
it is, and yeah, and I mean, yeah, and it's not like they got like they've got I don't know, yeah. I mean, I honestly also had that as a note. The fact that the defense didn't do well was also an omen. This is one of the games I was talking about at the top of this podcast about the kind of foreboding games. This was definitely a foreboding game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, so we'll switch to our zone blitz,
Zone blitz.
segment. Yeah, so we're gonna try to basically dodge the defenders and the topics and give some reasonable analysis, but in a bit of a shorter time frame. I actually do have a couple of flushed out ideas on some of these, so I'm preparing to break the rules a bit. Jack, you feel free to do whatever you need to do, whether you want to go long or short here, but depends on what the defense is giving you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Depends how many being rushed, what the zone coverage is.
Yeah. Okay. So zone blitz. We're gonna start with
turn in the page. Oh, geez.
That's right. I got 2 pages of notes this week. All right. This is what you're getting out there in the audience. We're giving you the video podcast. We're giving you 2 pages of notes. Okay.
We're giving
Zone
you
blitz.
Fan favorite zone blitz. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. There we go. Which New York team, Jack? I'm starting with you. Which New York team, the Jets or the Giants, is better through week 7? What do you got?
Definitely the Giants for a couple of reasons. Reason one, I mean, you could just say better record, but I think that they've just looked pretty good. I think the Jets have now had Breece Hall injured, right? They had their star rookie, top of the second round running back. He got hurt. They got like their second best player in the entire offense. One of their tackles, I think, got hurt. So they got 2 big players who I think are both out for the season. At least their running back is. That's not good. And the Giants, I mean, Danny Dimes. Hey, Danny Dimes played pretty well. He's been playing kind of well. I'll be honest. Right?
Yeah.
Danny Dimes been playing kind of 202 yards rushing. He was the leading and 202 yards passing. He was the leading rusher on the team as well for a while. Like he didn't end. It ended. Saquon got a couple more yards. Saquon even 24 rushes, averaging 4.6. That's pretty good. So their run game's insane. Daniel Jones had 11 rushes, 107 yards, and a touchdown. And he threw for a touchdown. Danny Dimes is looking good. That team offensively is looking pretty good. So I think partially it's them looking good, partially the Jets kind of falling from grace a bit potentially with these injuries.
Yeah, I like both teams right now, but I also agree. You can't argue with the fact of the matter. Daniel Jones is playing better than Zach Wilson is, and
the Danny Dimes renaissance.
Yes, Danny Dimes is finally sort of aged like wine, and he definitely and just Wilson hasn't gotten there yet. Yeah. He hasn't looked as good as Dimes. The other thing is you look at the Giants, like you said, they have a better record, but also look at the teams that they beat. The only winning team that the Jets have beat are the Miami Dolphins, and that's when they didn't have Tua. Okay. Meanwhile, the Giants have beaten the Titans and the Ravens, and they also almost beat the Cowboys. That's their only loss. So I think that that the Giants are clearly the better team. I agree with you.
Yeah. So moving on, which QB is the most washed? Brady, Rodgers, or Wilson, as in Russ?
Yes. as in
Which,
Russell
do you want
Wilson.
to go first? You want to go first or me?
I'll
You
go first.
because I read it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a bit of a lob. I feel like I almost left Wilson off, but I think that you could make an argument for Rodgers and Brady. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just say Wilson. I mean, the guy he's hurt now, so we don't get to see his drop off intensify like we might for the other two guys. So we might be saying in a couple of weeks, well, Wilson's been sitting, so we don't know how really bad he is. But man, Rodgers is he's completely lost it. He can't even throw 2-yard slants and stuff. So, but I mean, Wilson, it's clear his team supposedly everyone told us, Jack, that this was a Super Bowl ready roster.
Yeah.
And if that was the case, and they were dismissing a QB, then he's the problem. So it's got to be Russell Wilson. What do you think?
Mike Florio said that if they lose this week in London, they're going to be trading Bradley Chubb.
I know. Can you?
That's what he said.
I thought that was Florio just talking shit. I mean,
and it might
supposedly,
be. It very well could be. It very well could be.
They're saying that from Broncos reporters on the ground. He's getting that from them. Like he's taking it nationally, but they're saying that they're ready to sell the farm.
It's local news, guys. Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, for the question, I think I'm not going to say Rodgers. I've not seen Rodgers play well yet, but I do know he's had a fair amount of drops. I do know that's one thing I've seen. Some narratives I've seen is that a lot of he does have like the worst receiving core in the NFL, right? Maybe only the Giants is worse, right? He's got one of the bottom 2 receiving cores, and even the couple players were hurt. Like Randall Cobb, I think got hurt. That's a throwback player there, but I mean, so I can't see him, but I don't think he's. I think all 3 are looking pretty washed. I also have to go Russ because I think it's just the most. I think it is, like you said, the layup, but I'd consider saying Brady because especially with kind of Brady being Brady and the expectation on the season. I know Mike Evans dropped like a free touchdown pass last week. I saw the replay of that, but still I would expect expectation wise for me. I think from where I think he was players rated, where the expectations are to where they are now. I think Brady might be the biggest fall off, but I think kind of looking for actual level of play. I didn't have as high expectations of Brady, so it doesn't hurt as much for me seeing him not play well, play super well. Whereas Russ, we had Russ in our top 10 and stuff, and he's been looking terrible. So yeah, I think he was number 8 or something. But yeah, so I got to go Russ.
Yeah, to transition from Russell to his old team. Yeah, we are the Seattle Seahawks a playoff team? What do you think, Jack?
I'm going yes. I think the Seahawks are looking pretty good. I think Geno Smith is looking very good. And probably the biggest fact, I mean, frankly, I believe they're winning the NFC West right now. I believe leading the NFC West right now. So, I mean, for one thing, for that, but also the NFC only has 5 teams with a winning record. So yeah, they're one of those teams, right? Even if they kind of go 500 at the end, even if they're under 500 by the end of the season, there's still a chance they sneak in. They sneak in that division. They sneak in as a wild 7th seed. There's so many ways to end up with 7 teams in the playoffs, and in a division or not division, conference and division, but in a conference that bad, that top heavy, however you want to phrase it. I think they're pretty easy with how they've been playing. I think they definitely get it.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. Seattle has appeared to be somehow the best team in that division. Yes, they've dropped a couple of games that they shouldn't have. They would have loved to have that game back where they gave up 4 TDs to Taysom Hill. They would love to have the game back where they lost to the Falcons. If those kinds of things continue to happen, they might not make the playoffs. But I think that at this point they have enough momentum. They know that they're a good enough team that they could get the 10 wins.
Well. Good
coach. Well,
yeah, he can squeeze a couple wins out in close games, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I like them. If you want to do something crazy and say that you are going to get 3 NFC East teams in the playoffs, which is what it's, right now is that's what it would be.
Right
If you
now.
want to lock in the Giants and the Cowboys in the wild card, that means Seattle will fight for the 7th seed and the winner of that division, and I think that they'll get that. I really do. So
I think they'll get one.
Yeah, I got Seattle. So to move on, we're gonna go to which team is better, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Washington Commanders. Now, keep note that they are both 3-4 currently.
No, I am extremely ice cold, Arctic cold on the Bucs, right? And I've been saying this for a bit now, but I at least can maybe hope that they put some stuff together. That Brady, is like, you know what, I gotta dedicate, right? This is my legacy, right? Maybe he gets a bit more into it. The play, like I don't. There's just more talent. I feel like there's just more talent on the Bucs team. It's more maybe a coaching thing. It's more of whatever, like the mesh. It's not meshing the way, but there's at least more talent there. I don't think the Commanders are very good. I don't know if they have as much talent. At least that I know of. Maybe I don't follow the NFC East as much, so I'm more curious in your answer. But but that was my kind of feeling, that I don't think either team's very good. But I think the Bucs beat the Cowboys, didn't they, at the week 1 with Dak? And I know he got hurt, but like I can just, that's my kind of feeling. The Bucs have more talent. I just am very, I don't know. It's the commies, it's the football team.
Yeah. So I came up with this question because I was looking at the records in the divisions. And yeah, I noticed that the Buccaneers are leading the NFC South at 3-4. While the Washington Commanders are in last place in the NFC East at 3-4.
Are easily last place as well, like well into last place at 3-4.
Right, by like 4 games or something. But so yeah, so I was like, wow, I wonder, are the Commanders as good, if not better, than Tampa Bay? And the answer is, of course, no. In every single category you want to look at statistically, you want to look by feel, want to see who they won, who they lost to. It's Tampa Bay's clearly better. They're going through a rough spot. I'd like to point out that the only win that the Detroit Lions have this year is against the Washington Commanders. So, and that might be the only win that they get.
That's electric offense, Lions.
Dan Campbell's probably at the door. I give him like 4 weeks.
Another one of those. I mean, maybe they let him ride out the season just because. Why not? I mean, how much damage can he do? I don't know, but yeah, that Lions are one of those teams. I said at the beginning, foreboding loss, right? I mean, they've had a couple there. That loss to the Patriots, maybe most of it getting shut out, but like they would have wanted to hope, kind of freeze frame, like turn the car around. That's what they would have hoped, and in what was a close game for a lot of it, that's probably an emotionally devastating one. But I'm sure Lions fans are used to it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's move on. I think to will the Colts be better or worse with Sam? You're gonna have to say this name. Ellinger.
Ellinger, I believe it's Ellinger.
Ellinger, yes, probably that.
Yeah.
That's they've benched Matt Ryan and will be starting Sam there with Nick Foles, I believe, as the number 2. Thoughts? Will they be better or worse with this?
Yeah, so I just want to make it clear. The understanding is there was some drama about how this got released. Matt Ryan may or may not be hurt, but the idea is, my understanding is that regardless of whether he was hurt, they are benching him for the entire season. So it is a bench. Now, he may also be hurt, but they are basically saying that's why they made it clear that Foles is the number 2, because they're basically saying we're not going to play Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan is not playing, yeah.
Right, exactly. So
better or worse, though?
Better or worse? Absolutely worse. Sam Ellinger is a 6th round pick from 2021. He has never started a game in the NFL while the Colts have had all those
had a revolving door. Yeah.
Right, QB. Carson Wentz was there. They shipped him off and went and got Matt Ryan while Ellinger was in was in the facility. Now maybe they just knew he wasn't ready, and then he's going to be ready after
and now
7
he is.
games.
Now he is. He got a couple more weeks behind Matt Ryan.
Of course not. Of course not. This is going to go terribly, and it's just odd because I know Matt Ryan's playing really, really bad, but they're asking Matt Ryan to do a lot. He's passing almost more than anybody in the league. I think he's got the second most passes of anyone in the league.
He is the 4th most passing yards. He's one yard behind Justin Herbert for 3. He's basically tied for 3rd at passing yards. Which again does not mean he's playing well, but
no. But why? Because he's not calling the plays. The one thing I've seen, Frank Reich's been there since like the Andrew Luck era. At one point, are we gonna not say, "Hey, we're just cycling through Phillip Rivers, Andrew Luck,
start that coach
Wentz
cycle"?
I mean,
but
honestly,
the classic coach and quarterback revolving door, like the Browns, looking like the Browns.
But here's the thing, though.
Keep the cycle going.
I mean, there's a common denominator there. I understand that, like Carson Wentz. I mean, he doesn't look super great. He's out now with the Commanders, and he wasn't great before he came to the Colts. But I mean, and maybe Matt Ryan is all stats, and he's not actually good. He's just all stats. But I know he's played bad. I understand that. But you think Ellinger is going to play good? I mean, what? I don't know. I hate this move. It's terrible. It's a terrible move.
No, you know what? I know it's zone blitz. We got to move fast. Last thought on this. This could be an advanced tanking maneuver. This is advanced tanking, right? Where they are going to start, right? Because look at it, right? They're like Matt Ryan, right? He's not playing well enough to like carry us like Andrew Luck would. So he's gonna make us win too many games. He's gonna not too many, but he's gonna make us win too many games for like super high draft pick, right? Because we have him, he's gonna squeeze out a win or two, right his old man brain, it'll come out, the muscle memory will come back for a game or two, for a drive or two. Start the Sam dude. The Sam dude, maybe, right? Rookie, never started. Maybe he's Tom Brady. There you go. 6th round pick. Oh, maybe he's amazing. 99% no, but maybe he's that. And in the other case, you have a nice tank commander to train him to be the backup, right? Because Nick Foles, how long's he going to be your backup, right? You train this guy to be your backup by giving him some starts. Maybe he turns out really good. Most likely, he's a nice tank commander. There you go. That's why.
Listen, it's a great take. It's an excellent take. And this is the zone blitz. But guess what? You picked up some blockers. So if you for good takes, you can go for 10, 15 seconds in the pocket. I'm not going to stop you, Jack. All right.
Final
question. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to go? Do I?
No. You go.
Oh, we kind of. Which conference is better, AFC or NFC?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say the AFC is better. For 2 reasons. You look at the top; they have better teams at the top. So I'm gonna take Buffalo and Kansas City over Philadelphia any day of the week. And then what's the second best team in the NFC? I don't know. The Cowboys,
Vikings, or
the
Giants,
the Vikings.
Or Cowboys. Yeah, Cowboys are in the conversation too.
I'm not taking any of them over. Yeah, I'm not taking any of them over Buffalo and Kansas City. So I like that. And then also, there's just, in general, if you look at all the teams and including the bad teams, I think there's more bad teams in the NFC. So I think AFC is better. What do you think?
I think I agree. I specifically agree for the top teams reason. I think the Bills and the Chiefs are better than the Eagles. But then I also wonder. I guess the Giants beat the Ravens. I was about to say, maybe the Ravens better than the Giants. Giants beat the Ravens. Bengals. I mean, I don't know. I guess the thing is, frankly, maybe both are top heavy. But really, who's number 3 in the AFC, right? Ravens, maybe. I know number 3 by record is probably the Jets because they're 5-2. They're the other team with 5 wins. But
Bengals.
Are you going to say the Jets are the number 3 team in terms of power ranking wise in the AFC? I guess you say the Bengals or the Ravens, maybe. It's but those teams, I probably think the Vikings beat those teams. So in terms of echelon if I look at the two second tier, I think the top tier of the AFC is better than top tier of the NFC. I think the AFC as a whole is also better than the NFC as a whole. So it's like, so for my answer, I go AFC. But the one interesting thing I think I would note is I think that tier 2 teams in the NFC, I think are better. They're better by record anyway. Of teams like the Cowboys, the Vikings, the Giants, I think those 2 teams are better than the Bengals right now. I think they're better. Although the Bengals just had that crazy, you know what? Not the Bengals. They had that crazy, like, Joe Burrow throwing 500 yards. I think they're better than the Ravens. Giants beat the Ravens. Giants did beat the
Cowboys. It's hard to argue.
Do you think, as a Cowboys fan, do you think watching some of these games? I mean, like watching some of the games, do you think the Cowboys would beat the Ravens?
I don't think so. I would not. That's not a matchup that I would like as a Cowboys fan. I would hate that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would take Ravens and Bengals over Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Cowboys struggled to beat the Lions until the fourth quarter.
That's true.
The Lions.
That's
because
it's Dak. They got to put Rush out there.
Giants have played in 7 one-score games, and they've played 7 games.
They can win one-score games. You know what? No, I still think AFC's better. All I'm saying is those tier 2 games would be interesting. Yeah. I think those put 2 tier 2 teams against each other. You know, in each conference, I think those. Look, because at the very least, say Cowboys Ravens, that's a good game. It's not like, oh my god, the Ravens are gonna like just absolutely destroy, like poop on the Cowboys, right? I think, right. I mean, unless the Cowboys really put up a stinker, but I don't think that would happen. I think
no
Vikings. I don't want to think about that. I had to see them again, but we're droning on.
Yeah, so you're making
me think about the fact that the Vikings are 5-1 and the Giants are like 6-1.
When we get into arguing about second tier teams in both divisions. Oh geez, someone stop us. Yeah, no.
I'm getting us into the weeds there.
We're gonna go to game picks for next week.
Yes.
We're gonna start with the 9:30 a.m. game, our last of the season. Denver Broncos versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jags are 3-point favorites. Who you got?
I think because Russ isn't playing, I'm going to take the Jaguars. They played it. Obviously, I know it's the Giants. Like you said, they've played in 7 one-score games. But the Jaguars kept the game relatively close. I know there was some wacky stuff with certain there's some wacky stuff at the end of the Giants game, I know. But like they still, like the Jaguars still kept it close. And I think the Broncos are bad. I think if the Broncos do win without Russ, and if the offense at all looks put together, that would be pretty devastating there. But that would be a really tough win. That's a real tough to swallow win if they win that. But I take the Jags. I think they're a better team, not by yeah. I think it's an interesting game. It's a London game, but I'm not that intrigued by it.
Yeah, no, I don't even know if I'm gonna be up to watch this game, but I love the Jags here. Hammer the Jags. New segment, part of the game picks is a segment we call Eagles Watch.
Watch.
It's pretty simple. I'm gonna say, hey, we're on Eagles Watch. Did the Eagles lose this week? And then we're both gonna say yes or no. If we say no, we move on. If one of us says yes, then we'll talk about it. Okay. So here we go. We're on Eagles Watch. Are the Eagles going to lose this week? 1, 2, 3. No.
No.
All right, next game.
That's a funny segment.
New York Giants at the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is a favorite. 3-point favorite.
I know.
What do you think?
I think Giants were dogs against the Jaguars as well. Vegas knows something we don't. Whatever it is, Vegas knows something we don't.
They don't believe like us.
Vegas wants us to put money on the Giants, right? Because it looks too good to be. It looks too good to be true. That's why. Interesting note about this game. This is the only game this week featuring 2 teams with a winning record.
Yep, cream of the crop here.
This is the only game where the 2 teams have a winning record. The 6-1 Giants and the what do you say 4-3 Seahawks. Hey, it ain't easy.
Best game
imagine
of the week
imagine if you heard that in the before the season started. You heard week 8 one matchup between teams with winning records, Giants Seahawks, and you're like, how did either of those teams are winning? Like, how did
We
this
start
happen?
looking at all the
I'm gonna
games, you'd be
take.
saying, what?
Yeah.
Which? Oh, someone's losing here. What? Packers? I don't know.
Yeah, how did that happen? But I think I take the Giants. I mean, with the points and straight up, I think the Seahawks are looking very interesting. I know the Giants are winning lots of one-score games, and at some point you lose a one-score game. But I mean, frankly, I kind of like both these teams. Both these teams are fun to follow right now. These are both two fun to follow teams. I'm going to take the Giants. I think it'll be a one-score game, as they all are, but I don't think it's going to be a dominant performance by the Giants or anything, but I think they win.
Yeah, I agree. It's just like picking between children right now, and I'm saying that as a Cowboys fan. But it's just hard not to root for the Giants, who I would have picked the Seahawks. I really would have.
Against all odds.
I would have picked the Seahawks because I love Geno Smith. I love what they're doing. But Vegas made Giants the dog. The disrespect on back-to-back weeks. First the Jags, now this. I have to go with the Giants here. I'm going to take them. And I get points.
You get 3 points.
Cincinnati at the Cleveland Browns. I put this on
Halloween
here because
game.
Monday night, spooky Halloween night. What do you got? Cleveland is our 3-point dogs.
I definitely take the Bengals. I mean, especially after that game. I forgot when I was starting to go in that tier 2, whatever rant thing I started, whatever I was bogging us down with earlier. I forgot that Joe Burrow just threw for almost 500 yards. And there was that crazy, Jamar Chase, you want a 100-yard game? You can have it. T. Higgins, you want a 100-yard game? You can have it. Boyd, you want 100? You can have it. Everyone gets a 100-yard game. Like that, after that, I mean, that's a pretty dominant win. I do not think the Browns are very good at all. I think the Browns are bad, and I'm kind of surprised by the only 3 points. Maybe it's at the Browns. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe there's some sort of like conference, like division sort of like, oh, the Bengals always lose at the Browns. Like maybe always lose in Cleveland. Maybe something like I don't know. But either way, I take the Bengals, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to watch this game. I mean, just think about, you got an orange team versus another orange team on Halloween. You could roll out some jack-o'-lanterns. You wouldn't be able to tell anyone apart. It's going to be a blast. And of course,
it's in Ohio. That's Ohio football right there.
That's Ohio football. Smashing pumpkins. I'm take the Bengals. And yeah, so that's the end of our game picks. We're gonna go right into our stats question here. I got a good one for you today, Jack. You're gonna like this. I'm gonna start actually. Right now, I'm up 3-2. No points were scored in the stats question last week. I don't believe so. So we went to we're still at 3-2, and so yeah, team we didn't talk about this week was the Chargers. Getting basically shellacked by the Seahawks, but who could have saw that coming? We got the Chargers have come into heat recently because of Brandon Staley's their head coach, his affinity for going for it on fourth down, and that hasn't really paid off in a lot of games. Yeah. Sometimes it has, and
analytics would disagree, but
of course analytics.
Sorry.
So they've actually gone for it 17 times this year already, and they've converted 7 of those. They are not the team that has gone for it the most or converted the most. There's another team that both has gone for it more and converted more. What team is this?
Now, I'd be tempted to say converted more. I mean, I'd be tempted to say the Lions, but I'm not. Because in order for them to have converted more, they went 0 for 6 against the Patriots on fourth down. So that means they're doing it a lot, right? They got to be doing it a lot, but not like they would have had to be crazy efficient in the other weeks. They would have to be crazy efficient. Maybe they were crazy efficient in the other weeks. But that's one thought. Mm-hmm. Other thoughts, other teams. I mean, frankly, I feel like most things other things would be shot in the dark if I choosing something other than the Lions. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking up at the ceiling so I don't get any tells or bluffs or anything like that. Other teams who I think would go for other teams with coaches like that. Who else is a coach like that? The Bengals. I could see the Bengals being a team who just like Zach Taylor. Oh, we're gonna go for it a lot. Like those sort of like young coaches who I feel like have teams a lot of talent, but aren't necessarily good coaches. I'm saying the Lions. We're locking in the Lions.
Going for the Lions. And so I'm actually going to give you a half point here on this because, believe it or not, there are two teams that have gone for it more than the Chargers. One of them is the Lions. They are the second most that they have gone for it. The second most. They've went for it 18 times, and they also have gotten it 8 times, which is more than the Chargers. But the team that has gone for it the most, you were all over it. You were hammering it. Young coach, bad coach with talent. Cliff Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals. They've gone for it 23 times, and they've converted 13 times. So they're converting 56% of the time. The Lions are converting 44%. The Chargers 41%. So that's what we're looking at.
Something about that, like about that young coach, a lot of talent. Not particularly good, you know. Not.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, wow, is he just gonna sniff this one out? Holy cow! But you didn't get there.
I was trying to think. I was like I don't know if I probably still would have went Lions, but like I didn't think like that. The Cardinals just like are. Sometimes I forget the Cardinals are a team. You know, too many. Yeah. I don't know, too many bird teams or something. Too many red colored teams. Like I'm not keeping track of all that. Yeah.
Hey, but we'll give you half a point because it was good answer. It was technically right.
Very kind and compassionate. I'm tempted. I'm gonna think how I want to ask my question. Do I want to ask mine where it's kind of like that half point potential? But then I feel like the half a point might be too easy to get.
No, don't give me any charity. Just no? Shoot it. Yeah.
No. Actually, I mean, really, it doesn't matter that much. Actually, I'm gonna say after last night, Matthew Judon became the sack leader. He became the sack leader so far this season.
Wow. Wow. Did not know that.
I don't know if I want to say how many sacks he has. I'm trying to think. I was thinking about this. I was thinking this. I was honest. I'm asking how I originally thought of it. Right? He has how many more sacks than the next player? What is the differential? The hint I will say is, I don't know how much of a hint it is. He I believe got 2.5 sacks last night. Last night I believe he got 2.5 sacks over what he had, whatever the week before, and that was enough to put him ahead by how many? If you want to know, I could potentially give you how many he has total as well. I'm not sure if that's too big of a hint. You can, if you want if you want to know how many he has.
You're looking for the number between him and the second guy.
Yeah, or that, or like who's like not who, but like what's number 2 in sacks, like, but basically, so that they're okay. That's sort of how much is he leading the sack count by, right? This far.
Yeah, so I think that my first thought was, I know that I had said that before the season started that I liked Nick Bosa with San Francisco as the defensive MVP, and he had a really good start to the season, but then he got injured, so I think he fell out of the sacks lead. So, and I believe that I thought that I heard that the leader last week was the guy on the Jets. There's a lineman on the Jets who I thought was getting a ton of sacks. I could be just completely wrong,
whoever it is. I don't think he is. I don't think he is. At least not at this point. At this point, the closest Jet is at 13. You know what? Actually, I'm changing the question because I was looking for looking for the number. I think it's more interesting. Who's the number 2? Who's the number 2 in sacks
after Judon? Yeah.
After Judon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, gotta start to really think about. I'm gonna just start thinking about good defenses because I want to say Nick Bosa, but I don't think it's him. So, okay, good defense. Denver has a good defense. Do I think it's Chubb? I don't think it is. Dallas has a good defense. Do I think it's Parsons? No, I would know that. I don't even know if he's leading the team. I think Armstrong might be leading the team. Who else has a good defense? San Fran has a good defense. So, I don't want to fall back onto Nick Bosa. But, the only other thing I could think of is, like, guys we thought coming in was, like, maybe Myles Garrett or something. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with Nick Bosa.
That is a good guess, and it is a correct guess.
Oh,
now
nice.
I will say though, there are 2 people tied. So Matt Judon has 8.5 sacks. Nick Bosa has 7 sacks. So it's a 1.5 sack lead. That was what I was thinking of for the original question. There is someone else tied with Nick Bosa for 7 sacks. Who is this other person? It's a follow-up. It's a 2-part question. I didn't tell you there were 2 people tied.
This is good. This is much better than the number. I was like, I got no fucking idea with the number.
Yeah, I know.
But this is
I was just surprised by the fact it was a full 1.5 more. But
hey, shout out to Judon. So I'm thinking, like I said, I guess I kind of thought that I would say the Jets guy, but you said it ain't the Jets guy. So I mean, Myles Garrett, he was out a little bit with an injury, but I know that he had an all right start. I'm just trying to think of. I feel like it's probably gonna be some like guy on like the Falcons or something who's like racking up sacks. But I'm gonna go ahead and go with Myles Garrett.
No, it is Micah Parsons.
Is it really? Wow.
It is 7. Yeah, he has 7. The thing is, Armstrong has 6. There's how many is that? There's 6 people tied for 5th with 6 sacks. Armstrong's one of those people, so he's up there. Okay. The third most, so the number 4 player, but third most is actually Alex Highsmith of the Steelers, the guy who's kind of taking TJ Watt's role there as an edge rusher. Interesting. He has 6.5. But yeah, there's Von Miller, Khalil Mack, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Armstrong, and Rashawn Gary all have 6 sacks.
Wow, I should have just
most tackles for the loss, interestingly, is Max Crosby with 11 tackles for a loss.
Should have never just guessed against my guy Micah. I mean, he's the heart and soul and best player on the Cowboys. So
yeah, but the thing too, they've got 2 top 4. Depending how you do the tie, 2 top 4 like sack leaders. A lot of sacks.
There you go. So I also get a half a point there, or
yeah. I think we both get half a point.
All right. So I keep the 1 point lead.
You keep the lead. Big half a point guy.
Yeah. So all right, great.
Yeah.
I think that's about it for the podcast.
I think that's it.
Yeah. So I think that went pretty well. Hopefully you out there listening or watching enjoyed. So had some spicy takes. It's not our that's not our thing, but sometimes I feel
hopefully next week's episode there's a lot there's a lot of talk about. Hopefully there's a lot more to look forward to in terms of teams with winning records playing each other. But
yeah, hey, listen, week 8, you never know. We could have some crazy games, but we probably won't.
Yeah, because we're gonna have the pin setters next week, right? We're gonna have the tier lists.
Excellent tease, Jack. Yes, if you've stuck around, then you're aware that yes, now we are doing the pin setter. Jack is setting it up.
You stuck around for the outro music, but we're not letting you hear it. We're gonna keep talking about it.
Yeah, no, but definitely. Pin setter next week, so stay tuned.
Will be very interesting.
It should be fun, and we'll have to compare it to the one from a month ago. That's gonna look good.
I don't think we should. That'll take too much time and not have a lot of value. I don't think
fair enough. But yeah, thanks for watching. This was 710 Sports with
Jack
and Jared. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.